What's up, fight fans? Greetings from the Russellverse again, guys. It's your boy T-John, and this here's In the Mix. All right, so man, what I want to focus on today is yesterday's big event of the UFC put on UFC Fight Night, Hermanson versus Strickland. Man, this was a really good event, guys. I really enjoyed it. It was a really good matchup between Strickland and Hermanson. There was a lot of good fights too on the card. Very close matches, very fun, intense matches. A lot of them went the distance. We did see a few finishes. But man, I don't have any complaints about how this one turned out, man. I love seeing new guys. I like seeing the new faces, and um I love seeing them put on a show. So I really have no bad things to say. All around enjoyable matchups, I should say. All around great event. So starting it off with here, Steven Peterson versus Julian Erosa. Now, these two really were scrapping a lot this fight. I gotta say, it went all the way. It was an incredible showing of stand-up skills between the two. These two really put on a clinic on each other when it came to the stand-up game. This could have gone either way, but Stevenson was really rocking Julian a bunch of times with his power. I mean, you could see it. Boom. I mean, Julian himself had Stevenson leaking from his nose early. But just their impressive striking ability between the two of them, man, it was an impressive showing. I really enjoyed. I mean, of course, we all do. We all enjoy a nice, good scrap on the feet. Not a lot of people get really into the ground game, but man, I mean, that's just us being addicted to the fights. Most damage really looks like it gets done on the feet, but I mean, honestly, a lot gets done on the ground too, guys. Like you can't sleep on jiu-jitsu. It's very important, but that actually came into play after Erosa hit him with a mean backspin, like a back fist, almost knocked him out. Luckily, that round ended right there, so he was kind of saved after that hit. And then we saw Stevenson lock in a deadly guillotine. I mean, you see it, like that neck is tense. You can see like the ridges of his spine and his neck almost with how hard he was pulling. Somehow, though, Julian Rosa gets out. I have no idea how he gets out. I have no idea how a lot of these guys are really muscling out of these guillotines, man. I think people need to start working on that technique a little more. Like you need to switch to blood chokes, man. It's not all about closing up that windpipe. All it takes is somebody being strong enough to just hold their breath long enough and just flex their neck, but you can't stop the blood. So people need to get some real jujitsu coaches, I think, because we haven't really seen that many people successful, honestly, in the guillotine department when it comes to MMA and the UFC in general, especially these last few fights, bro. Like it's kind of sad because these fights should not be going, especially when you have one that tight. Like there's no reason somebody should get out of something like this to me. Like crunch your side, bro. Knock this man out. Put him to sleep. You can do that in this position, but it's only if you learn. Shout out to Master Lloyd. I hope he's watching, man, because yeah, he's one of the guys that will teach you how to actually put somebody out with blood chokes. You need to know how to do it. It's not all about the windpipe. But anyway, like I said, this fight went the distance. It was a great showing between the two. It could have gone either way. A lot of these matches actually did end up going to the scorecard, man. And I mean, I wasn't angry with any decision that was made. It was very fair from the refs for once, I gotta say. And apparently Julian Erosa did just enough to get the win. It was a very close fight. Very close fight. I think that these two will more than likely meet again in the future. But we'll have to see. I think that there's plenty of other people to fight, and I think they both had a really good fight between each other. So I think they can move on and then maybe meet each other after they get a little more experience. I mean, Rose has a bunch of experience though, so We'll see. Next up, we had Trayshawn Gore and Brian Battle fight. Now, these two actually were supposed to fight in their showing of the Ultimate Fighter. They were actually scheduled to be on the finale together and fight each other, but Gore actually got injured. So that fight had to be tabled, and Battle ended up winning the trophy, and Gore was not happy about it. Has been trash talking Battle forever about it. Talking about how he's lucky to have gotten it. He would have gotten it if he actually fought Gore. So there was a lot of a bit of a rivalry and some bad blood between them that needed to get settled. And I'm glad we actually got to see a match where that happened. It was pretty intense in the beginning, man. I mean, they were mouthing off at each other after the first round. Not a lot of damage got done that first round, really feeling each other out, talking trash. And yeah, that was basically the first round. And then they really turned things up in the second, third rounds. But it was just it was a pretty even match. I think that it really depended on Battle using his reach advantage and his size, because that was the biggest determining factor between this fight, was just him being able to keep Gore on the outside. I mean, yeah, keep him on the outside, keep him distance, landing some kicks and punches, and just scoring. That was really what ended up taking this fight. You know what I mean? And of course, I think that Battle had more output. He definitely had more energy, was doing a lot more. And I think that's why the judges scored it as they did. And Battle got the victory. You can't really see it, but he actually brought the Ultimate Fighter trophy that he won, kind of showboating a little bit to show everybody, like, hey, y'all thought that I wasn't gonna beat him and be really the true Ultimate Fighter champion, and here I am. I applaud it, man. You did what you got to do, Battle. That was a really great fight. It was impressive. It was an impressive win and a good way to really shut up the haters, man. So I'm really happy with how that fight ended up. Next up, we have Sam Alvey versus Brendan Allen. Now, these two are both really good fighters, very good on the stand up, and Sam Alvey is kind of a sleeper himself. They both were rocking each other this fight, guys. I mean, this was a really, really awesome fight. It was pretty quick, though. But I mean, when you have guys scrapping like this, it's bound to be a really quick fight. So I didn't have any problems with the speed of how this fight went. And I'm sure everybody else didn't either. But I mean, man, like Brendan Allen just was starting to outclass him early on, then rocked him hard, put Sam Alvey down, and all that Sam Alvey could do was turn around, try to protect himself from punches, opened his neck up, had that rear naked choke, and tapped. Like it was too clean of a choke for him to get out of. So that was the end for Sam Alvey. And Brandon Allen, guys, is super young. I think he's only like 24 or 27. It's one of those. And like so just with his age, he has a lot of playroom to like learn and keep building his skill. And I mean, if he keeps on the trajectory that he's on, I mean, he can be in the contender spots very soon. Like he has a very bright future, guys. So definitely look out for Brendan Allen. He's a name to watch. Next, we have Shavkat Rachmanov versus Carlston Harris. Now, Shavkat is a absolute dog, man. I mean, he was before this fight, he was on a 14-0 winning streak, has not lost, refuses to lose, has been beating everybody in dominant fashion. And he really continued that this fight. I mean, the fight was extremely fast, and he finished Carlston with a super flashy, like spinning back kick right to the temple. There was nothing that Carlston could do, but he ended it with some ground and pound, got the TKO victory, moving him up to 15-0. This guy is phenomenal to watch. I can't wait to see what else he has, bro. We need to start feeding him some actual contenders, man. Like, he has proven himself in the UFC already, in my opinion, especially with that kind of impressive record. His next fight is definitely going to be a big challenge. Expect the UFC to actually give this man a challenge worth his time, because he's been putting away everybody that's been getting in his way. So I expect him to like he's already made waves in the division. So I think the next step is to actually give him somebody like top 10, top 5, somewhere in that range and see where he can really go for this. So we'll see. We'll definitely see. I'm a big fan of him. So I'm excited to see what's in his future, especially this year. I love watching him fight. Very dominant guy. Next we have um Punahele Soriano versus Nick Maksimov. Now, these two were already scrappers. We knew that they were gonna like keep this fight on like the feet. That was very much so like what we were expecting. Puna is a striker though. Like he was an obviously more toted striker than Nick, and Nick really fought a very smart game plan when it came to Puna. He kept the fight really wrestling. He was very dominant when it came to moving and pushing Puna into corners, trying to get submission attempts, things like that. Didn't really give Punahele the time to get his own groove in. And that's how you fight somebody who could possibly do more damage to you when it comes to striking. If you don't have a clear way of winning a fight with striking, sometimes the best way to go is to, start using your surroundings, start using your other backgrounds, your wrestling, your jiu-jitsu, make the fight more advantageous to you. It may not be the most entertaining fight, but a win is a win. And that's what we really saw here, man. I mean, it was a pretty dominant performance in terms of wrestling by Nick Maximov. But there were some sparks where Pele got his groove going, was really starting to like beat him down every now and then. But those were normally near the ends of the round where Nick really controlled most of the match, So that's just I mean, this is just how the fight went. But I didn't have a real problem with it. As you can see, like I said, a win is a win, and it was a clear W, in my opinion, for Nick Maximov, and the judges definitely agreed. He got the win over Puna, and I mean, this is just this would just be a lesson for Puna to learn that you gotta put some more effort into your wrestling game, man. There's too much like he was outclassed when it came to wrestling, and those are points that you're losing. There is a scoring system in the UFC. It may not always be apparent because all we're ever looking for is entertainment, but this isn't wrestling. This isn't the WWE. This isn't any of that. This is just there's a scoring system involved, and you have to know what how these fights can go either way. So I think that that's something that Puna can take from this. And Nick, you got to work on more of your wrestling too, because there were times where Puna could have easily gotten out of some stuff, man. So I think that this was a good learning lesson for the both of them, and I can't wait to see where they both go from here. Just really young guys, as you saw. I think one was 24, another one was 27. Again, like these are some young faces who are already on the main card, man. So this is a really good thing to see. Bringing in this new talent that's possibly going to take over. Be the future of this promotion. So I'm really glad to see how this card turned out. It was really good, and it gave people the FaceTime and that spotlight that we don't really see often when it comes to new guys. But we're already here, guys. The main event: Jack Hermanson versus Sean Strickland. Now, this fight was a must see, in my opinion. So, Sean Strickland, as we know, has been on a wild hot streak since coming back to the middleweight. Like he hasn't lost, and I mean his record really. I think he's only had 4 losses anyway in his career. And Jack Hermanson isn't to be slept on. I mean, like he was one spot ahead of Sean Strickland, and that was for a reason. He's a very technical fighter, but Sean Strickland has a dog in him. He's a very technical striker. He talks a good one. He makes you think that he's just some bloodthirsty crazy person, but I mean, if you saw the fight, you would know he picked his punches well, and that was really the telltale sign line of the whole match was just his striking prowess, man. But going into it, Hermanson, Hermanson also talked to Goen before the match, talking about how he wanted it to stay on the feet. And for the most part, that did happen, but he did kind of revert and try to get that wrestling in. I think he should have stuck with that. That would have been a very smart thing to do. But Sean Strickland also has a really good wrestling takedown defense kind of strategy to him. He was not going down easily, and that would just make Hermanson gas more. So, I mean, the fight primarily stayed on the feet, and these two went at it, bro. I mean, like there were several times where they both had combos going. It was a really technical fight though, where both really picked their punches well, but Sean Strickland was clearly advantageous throughout the fight. Like he just was pulling ahead slowly but surely just from his striking alone. He was able to like pick his punches well. I mean, Hermanson actually like made him leak blood a little bit, like had his nose bleeding. But that was all the damage that he really got. Like by the end, by the last round, knew that he needed to get a win. He needed to get a finish by the final round. That was the only way that he was going to win this fight. It was pretty one sided, I gotta say, but it wasn't one sided in the sense of like he was getting dominated. It was just like he was outclassed. Like the striking was clearly Strickland's forte, and he couldn't get the takedowns that we knew Hermanson for. So that's how the fight ended up, man. Sean Strickland got the dub. He got the unanimous decision. He didn't seem too happy about it. I think that he was expecting to, come out with another big dominant performance, probably knock him out or get some kind of finish. But I mean, a win is a win, man. And I have no complaints. I'm sure there are some fans that probably were a little bit bored by the fight, but I mean, technique is important, man. And I love seeing like that kind of skill on display. Yeah, I don't, you don't always want people to just be beating the crap out of each other. I mean, granted, yes, you do, but at the same time, you don't. You want competition. You want a good fight. You don't want just one person clearly beating the crap out of the other because that's no fun. And that was kind of the tale of this event. I have no issues with it. In terms of rating, I would give this a solid 3. 3 is fair. I would say a 3 just because I mean, I feel like it could be pulled either way by all fans of MMA. That it was either boring or it was super entertaining. To me it was both. I would pull more to the entertaining side. I didn't feel like I had to turn away at any point, and that's always a plus. Do I feel like there could have been more interesting matches or, yeah, of course. But this was good, especially for a fight night. Fight nights are fight nights. They're kind of like the fillers to get into those pay-per-view ones. So I'm not about to complain. It's just like the Monday Night Raws and stuff. And, before we get to, the Elimination Chambers and stuff coming up. So I'm not really I'm not tripping. I'm good with what we got. But with that being said, man, we're gonna have UFC 271 coming up. So get ready for it, man, because that's sure to be a good time. I'm super excited for that. Israel Adesanya versus Boris Whitaker again. That's going to be a great fight. We also got some really exciting developments on that card as well, but I don't want to get too far into it, man, because the All Real crew, we're going to touch on it on our pre-show and the post-show the day after. So you'll have to catch the post-show in the morning. But, man, it's going to be a good time. I'm trying to tell you guys, tune in. We have a lot of fun on that All Real Crew podcast. But thank you guys for joining me, man. That's all I got for In the Mix this time. Be sure to like and subscribe, follow us. Make sure you click the follow on those handles right there, TTR Wrestling and the All Real Crew. Get all of your news from us, man. We do this all day, every day. And, leave some comments. Let us know what you think, what your thoughts are, what you can't wait to see. We'll respond. Give us some, what you can't wait to see, what you're looking forward to. And, we'll be looking. Maybe we'll respond. More than likely we will. So, all that to say, guys, until next time, keep it real.